Today let's talk about the chemical compounds that are useful in the FPV or rather RC hobby. The first chemical thing that I think everyone really should have in his workshop is the IPA, isopropylic alcohol. I really like use half a liter every year. It's a great solvent and great cleaning agent. It very nicely removes everything that's fat. It denaturalizes fat, grease, but it's also safe on almost all plastics, so it will not dissolve plastic like other alcohols might do it. I do not suggest this is a good idea to drink this stuff. You will not get this kind of buzz you can get from ethanol alcohol, but IPA is really plastic safe, great stuff. You just have it in the bottle and apply some and you have everything you want to have cleaned, and it's really safe on electronics and other things, so great for cleaning. You can also clean your PC, electronic components, useful when 3D printing. I really use like half a liter of this stuff every year. I always have 2 or 3 small bottles like this lying somewhere, applying this stuff on different stuff. Next, this is the silicone conformal coating, but by MG Chemicals. What it does, it's a varnish that allows you to isolate electronics from water and also protect it from short circuit. It's very simple to use. It has a small brush and you just take some and apply this stuff on absolutely any kind of electronics you want. It's and you can be sure after stuff like that the water will not corrode anything you coated with it. Flight controllers, yes, there are like only 3 elements on a flight controller you should not cover with any kind of varnish like that. You should not cover the barrel, you should not cover the USB connector, and you should not cover the buttons, because when the stuff gets inside of the button, then of course the button stops to work. Probably this is one of the most important chemical discoveries that allows us to fly drones. This is the thread glue. This is so-called the I always have problem pronouncing this. Anaerobic glue, that thread glue, commonly called Loctite, but trust me, Loctite is not really the only manufacturer on the stuff. You can get the threadlock glue from different manufacturers. I'm, for example, using this Polish Technical, really El Cheapo. This one usually lasts for a year. If, however, you cannot or you want to have, let's say, the best, then always the Loctite is for you. Amazing stuff. Do not ever try to build a quadcopter racing drone without applying a thread lock on all the threads, because the vibrations and threads do not like each other, and screws just like to unscrew themselves thanks to vibration. Extremely useful stuff, really extremely useful stuff. This is so-called liquid tape. What it does? Yeah, it's almost like the conformal coating over here, but this thing, after applying on any kind of electronics, it's not transparent. You see, you can nicely protect it with all kinds of electronics with this stuff, and after settling down you can just peel it off. It's removable. This is not really intended to protect anything from moisture, from the corrosion, from the moisture, because the water still get below this coating, and this is kind of dangerous for the electronics, but it kind of protects the electronics from dirt, from short circuit and stuff like that. If you really want to have extremely well protected electronics, cover with this and then apply this on the top, and you should be ready to go. And after all, just peel it off nicely. I almost always cover all the ESCs and the electrical joints with this stuff, because it's very, very, very useful. Next, if we are on the slightly gluish stuff, CA glue. really any kind of CA glue will work. I know that some people prefer specific brands like the Loctites, but honestly, almost everything inside is exactly the same compound, and it does not really matter which CA glue you will use. The CA glue always have a problem of, let's say, being thicker and thicker with age, so I usually buy the thinner, rzadki, it's thin in Polish, buy thinner version, and then that will just go thicker after half a year of usage. But you can buy any kind of CA glue, really amazing stuff for gluing stuff together, but be careful, not everything can be glued with the CA glue. For example, foams, usually foams are not CA safe. There are of course special foam safe CA glues, but they are really special. You might have problems gluing metal, glass, but if it's at least slightly porous, then you will really have a chance of having a nice joint with the CA glue. Be careful though, CA glue gets hot while bonding, and if something really likes to melt, then it might just melt during bonding. And if you really want to have the best experience, once more time, this is just a generic, absolutely 100% generic CA glue accelerator. How it works? Do I have, yeah, I have this small piece of balsa wood, and normally if I will want to glue two pieces of, let's say, balsa glue together like that, I would of course have to hold it with my hands. This is where the accelerator comes into the play. You just take the accelerator, you apply glue like this, you put this like this, take the accelerator, done. The glue has just bonded immediately. Not need to wait, not need to absorb any moisture from the atmosphere to bond. It's really immediately bonded and ready to go. If we are in the glues, then to glue any kind of foam, UHU Por, if you live inside of the United States, then you might have problem with getting UHU Por. There is something called, you can get the United States, that's called Foam Tech, which is more or less the same, and some say that that is the best foam glue, some say this is the best foam glue. Either way, this is always an option. The link for both UHU Por and the Foam Tech is in the description. Epoxy, buy big bottles of epoxy. Why big bottles? And usually try to get, let's say, medium time of the curing time, like this hot baking generic. No, generic. It ages, and with age the epoxy glue gets, let's say, hard and does not really mix well when you want to mix them. But there is a trick. If you have an old bottle of the epoxy glue somewhere and it got hard, almost like a solid, not a liquid, put it into warm water, hot water, for like 5 minutes. It will be nicely liquid again. You will be able to mix it and just use it as a normal epoxy glue. I have those two bottles for 2 years, almost 2 years now. It got hard at least twice, and at least twice I just fixed the glue by applying by putting this into hot water. So yeah, free consumer advice, right? And the last two things are for the solderings. I showed this when I was making my video about how to solder 18650 lipos. This is the soldering acid. If your solder does not want to stick to the nickel plated anything, apply this, you are done. It will just solder through everything you have by just dissolving the oxide layer on nickel plated elements. And another pretty good stuff, I also made a separate video about this one more time. This is a stanol flux pen. Yes, solders usually have flux inside, but sometimes it's just not enough. And when you have this very special solder joint that does not really want to go up nicely. It's always made not shiny, not nicely round. Apply some of this stuff on this and the solder joint will immediately get much better. Okay, that was my quick guide through the FPV chemistry compounds. Next time maybe we will do something about the tapes. Tapes. If you watch the How I Met Your Mother, then you know there's boats, and we're gonna have, maybe or not, tapes. Yeah, okay, I'm going too far into the future. That's all for today. Until the next one. Bye.